My name is Mike. This is ESR Racing 101. Welcome to the ESR Racing 101 playlist. And we will, through these videos, be talking about various items of sim racecraft and things particular to the ESR community. We'll be teaching you how to utilize web assets such as Discord, how we have things set up, website, race app, etc. We'll also be talking about things that pertain to directly on the track. I personally will be focusing on Assetto Corsa Competizione because the two games that I tend to run are ACC and Race Room Racing Experience. And Race Room doesn't have really anything specifically unique to it. I mean, every so often there's a little tweak or thing that comes up. There was the time when going off track basically meant your tires were complete ice for like a half lap. Things of that nature that kind of come up. But there's not a lot. ACC goes a lot more into depth. There's more things to discuss, from some of the starting dynamics to some of the penalty dynamics to some of the in-game ways things work, such as custom liveries. So that'll be the focus. But just because I'm using ACC as a game doesn't mean that it wouldn't apply to another game. And there may be other games that come up. There may be other people who add videos to this as a way of talking about the games that they specialize in, that they run, that they want to inform people about. So, without further ado, let's get towards today's episode. Hello everybody, I'm here to do the ESR rating video as part of the new ESR 101 series, where we're trying to explain everything that we can explain, and the intro probably just told you that, so this was a little bit of a waste of time. But anyways, ESR ratings. So the ESR rating system is similar to what GT racing does, where a driver is either platinum, this is like a pro championship caliber driver, gold, this is an up-and-comer or someone kind of on the transition to platinum. Really talented, but maybe not quite at the top end of the pyramid. Silver is sort of newcomer drivers in real life. And people who can put in the occasional really, really good effort. Like every race, maybe a silver driver will be up in like the top 10 area of a race. Maybe 2. But they won't be there consistently. And then bronze, which is guys who have a lot to learn. Maybe they have hardware issues, computer problems, anything that kind of can bring you down to being slow. So platinum fastest, bronze slowest. And how we determine this is that every time you do an ESR race, you are compared to the race winner, or not the race winner, but the fastest person. Usually the race winner, but every so often there will be something weird where that's not the case. You do a qualifying session, you're compared to pole. You do a race, you're compared to the best lap. You're compared to the best average pace time, which is usually the winner. And that gives you a ratio stat that goes into this spreadsheet here. Now, something that people tend to think about is that, okay, well, if I do well in a championship series, that means I'll be ahead of the person below. And the question comes up with me, for example, when I finish, 6th in the 3D Speed Series we just recently had. Here is the race app standings for it. And you'll see there are a couple of ace drivers who are platinum or gold. The two below me are gold, I believe. Who are, behind me in the standings but have a higher ESR rating. The reason for this is that we're not looking at race results. There is no standard value for a top 10, top 5, top 15 result. Because the grid size is obviously going to impact that a lot. If you're in a 10-car race, you're going to be in the top 10. And championship points don't impact it either, because that wouldn't be really all that relevant. For example, let's go find Marcelo Murillo here. Marcelo Murillo finished 23rd in the recent 3D Speed series. But if you look at it, his average finishing position was 5th. He had a 6th in his debut, he had a 4th at Silverstone, and was fighting for a podium pretty much the entire time. Would it be fair to give him value for 23rd in the standings? No, not really. Standings are about consistency, they're about attendance, they're about not being absent, they're about not DNFing. There's a lot of things that can lead to you being further back. It's about not taking penalties. That can lead to you being further back in the standings than what your actual talent would indicate. So that's not how it works. Let's go over to the 3D Speed here for a second here. So this is my worksheet for the 3D Speed Spring Series. And the math is taken out of here because I tend to do a copy and paste just values only. But there would be like calculations galore on this during the active part of the series. It's just that it's over, that it's all cleaned up and nice. So let's look at me for a second here. So over the course of the season, I put up a 1.018 ESR rating. That is silver. So gold is anywhere from a perfect platinum is anywhere from a perfect 1.000 rating, which I think only Alistair Leckie currently has, probably because he's not going to race with us again. He did one race. All the way down to a 1.01 rating. That's platinum. The top 1% in terms of relative pace. Gold is 0.1 or is 1.015. So like right there, that's the lowest gold rating you can get right there. Max Simmons is qualifying at Laguna Seca. So that puts you in the gold, and then silver is 1.016 to 1.025, and then bronze is anything below that. So those are the ranges, and they adjust over time. We're trying to create roughly a realistic looking spread through the field. So let's look at mine here for a real second here. So for example, if we look at the standings here, I picked up a 9th place at Laguna Seca. That seems really, really good on paper. It's really, really good for a championship, but look at the numbers here. 1.027, 037, 039. Those are bronze numbers. They're terrible. I didn't qualify well. I didn't race well. It's just that Laguna Seca was a complete flaming trash heap of a race where we had something like half dozen. Well, hang on. Let me pull it up, and we can show this. This was the one that had all the issues with the potential restart and everything, and how the restart went even worse than the first one. So if we look at the race here, we lost Jeff Wentworth on lap 1. Lap 4, we lost Guillermo. Lap 10, Paul Riccobeni. Lap 13, we lost Jake Keckley. And then also tons and tons of penalties here. Penalty for Dominic Turcotte, penalty for Diego Alonso, Trevor Cheney, Rick Bartel, Benjamin Adamian, Cole McRae. You'll note Cole also finished something like 8 laps down. Obviously, this is not a typical race. Just simply staying out of trouble was going to lead to a reasonable result. For example, here's my best lap of 124.702. That is 3 seconds off of what Matt Higgs was able to do. That's why that is so far off. That's a bronze lap right there. Now, part of this is that Higgs was insane. I don't even understand how he got that fast of a lap. But he was really, really on his game. So a combination of Matt Higgs being ultra, ultra quick and the fact that realistically I did not have a good race. I just kind of lucked into a result means that I got... Oh, hang on. My number went away. Undo, please. Thank you. The number went away means that despite the top 10 result, the overall result was a bronze. Let's get the average here real quick. So yeah, there. Average. 1.034. That's bronze. So that was a result that helped me championshiply speaking in the championship, but actually hurt my overall rating. Also, you'll notice that there are blanks here, like Jake Keckley not getting anything, or Guillermo Martinez. Usually this means that someone DNF'd, did not do the minimum required laps for the race to really have a decent sample size of their performance. And it comes up on average. It'll sometimes come up on best as well. basically if you complete like 2 laps, and we really can't say that that's a pace, or I really can't say that it's a pace, it won't be included. Max Simmons, for example, there didn't get anything for Laguna outside of his qualifying efforts. And of course, if there's a blank qualifying effort, it means you didn't qualify. Most of the time, that means that you get the 000. You're absent. But every so often, someone won't qualify but will race, and that can throw that off. But anyways, this all comes through and gives us an average filter, a value to assign. So it doesn't actually have anything to do with the result. It doesn't actually have to do with points scored. It doesn't have to actually do with championships. Now, that being said, if you do well over the course of a season, theoretically, your rating will go up. Like Matt Higgs won the championship. Let's see what his rating was here real quick. 1.002. Pretty damn close to a perfect score. William Murrah was second. 1.006. Platinum. Jeff Wentworth. Let's see here. 1.005. Platinum. Andrew Burke missed a couple races at the end. Would have been a championship contender, I think. This is 1.005. Paul Riccobeni, probably also platinum. Paul. Oh, no, just into gold. Okay, 1.012. And then you get me with my silver rating. Zach Martin with his... See, Zach was actually also silver, so... He had a higher rating, but you notice he had less races. And if we look at it here, we can see he had a DNF at Laguna Seca, which would have been a tremendous chance to gain points. Or pardon me, that's Max Simmons. He had a DNF here at Nürburgring. And honestly, wow. I am stunned that I beat him on 2. See, it's 4 top 10s apiece, really. So, literally comes down to the fact that I had an 11th place at Nürburgring to his 12th place at Silverstone. If I recall correctly, he had an accident at Silverstone. So that would be an example. You can also see that, like, Max Simmons would have easily been above us because, I mean, look at that performance at the end. Problem was, DNF at Laguna Seca, did not participate at Kyle Almy, so that 0 did count for his ratings and wasn't his scratch result. Took a penalty at Imola, and then had the big performance towards the end to get up into the top 10. You can see that this doesn't necessarily correspond to speed. A championship is not decided by who's fastest, but by who scores the most points. If we go over to the overall page here, we track the most recent 5 series that you've been in as sort of to get rid of historical data. We'll also eliminate things where you did like 1 race or something. Certain drivers are indicated with a rating in pink. That's because they're provisional. Basically, we've had either a test with them or they've come out to a race and gotten wrecked very early on and didn't qualify. So we don't actually have any data points. We have no concrete math, but we do have a very solid feeling on where they rank. So like Boki Abradovic raced in, I want to say, the WTCR series we did at Slovakia Ring. He didn't qualify and then got like booted on like lap 2. So obviously we got no data. We had no average lap time. We had no best lap time. We had no qualifying lap time. But we could we watched his racing and could kind of tell that there's a lot to be done there. There's a very limited skill set, we'll put it that way, and that fits into the bronze. And obviously these kind of ratings will change very quickly, and then anything here is just like people who I don't know their Discord, basically. I have these highlighted. People I have to find, basically. I know Lecky left our server. I think Albie did too. I don't know where Andy Long is. That's kind of surprising. Antonio Garda, I know, left. Blind Viking, I think, or Blind Bird, I believe is what that translates to. He left, and I've never found Boki. So, examples of probably people that are not going to be regularly involved in the series is because we can't find them on Discord. And then orange up here means that the series is still going. You can look at this. You can just message me if you want to look at this whole thing and try and figure some things out for yourself. But that's basically the thing. I will generally update the Discord ratings, the official ratings, so to speak, when it seems like there's a reason to. So, for example, let's say that we start a new driver series and we have a dozen new racers. And we go through round one of the series and we get the data for a dozen new people. All right, that'll prompt an update because we have a dozen people that need to be rated. Alternatively, if we find someone who has a very limited set of data, say Boki signs up for a series and does very, very well. Okay, we had him provisionally as a bronze before. Now we need to update things because he's got data now. Excuse me a sec. Got the hiccups coming on. So you have that. The other thing that will happen is when a series ends, I'll update it. So when GT Blancpain 2016 ends, there will be an update because we'll have a new core finalized data point for everybody that participated in that series. And that'll go into it. And the idea here is we're looking at pace, we're looking at consistency, we're looking at your ability to drive in traffic, your ability to compete in a race, and I think it works pretty well. There's a couple of people that don't really make a lot of sense. I'll admit that I'm Still Silver is a bit weird because I've had kind of back-to-back very strong 3D speed series. The thing is, where am I? Oh, and a couple of people will also be provisionally changed. For example, Justin Swan has the rating of a silver, but a lot of that comes down to the fact that he's very, very part-time in some series. He'll race some cars that are not terribly great, but his technical understanding of the cars is incredibly good, that he gets basically a promotion to gold despite not being quite gold. Lachlan Nichols has a downgrade, comparatively speaking, because his platinum is based on a very small sample size, and those who have raced him don't really think of him as gold. It's kind of the same thing with Marcelo Murillo here, or as platinum. He's got platinum numbers, but it's a very small sample size, so we'll keep him at gold for now, and he'll move up over time. And then you'll get something like a Mark Sutherland who has silver overall rating, but it's based on very few points of contact. Like that was a single race in 3D speed, and then he's got 1.011 in GT4 Britain. So it feels like we don't have a solid barometer on him. And he was platinum actually after Brands Hatch. Struggled a little bit in the Stenterton wet race, by the numbers anyways. So don't really know. Kind of weird. If I don't really know someone's platinum, we generally won't put them at a platinum level. Similarly, we won't put them at a bronze if we think that that's not really accurate. Silver and gold will have minimal changes just because it would have to be something a bit weird. But anyways, I was looking for me, and there I am. Okay. So silver, 1.06. I have 6 series is counting because there is an active series I am in, Enduro 2021, which once that is finalized, something will be removed. Probably, unless there was something here. Probably this one here, the fall series. So if we get rid of it now, actually, it doesn't even move me. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's a 001 difference. But anyways, that one would go away, and we would add on. You can see that the overall performances, they'll seldom go above silver. There's only one that's particularly not great. That's GT World Tour. I ran the Audi, which is not a great car, but it was a full season. And there were some good results in there. I got a couple top 10s, but in general was a bit of a weak spot. So you got gold here in the Enduro race. Go me. I do better in longer races. And I run the sprint series. Go figure. So there's that. And it's kind of just an average out. And there's similar things with anyone else who has like 6 series is appearing here. It's because something is still active and not finalized. It can be more. Like Max Simmons has got 8, but that's because he's got an active GT4 series. the Blancpain 2016 series and the Enduro series all active. So once those finalize, we'll go back and be eliminating older stuff / stuff that wasn't very long. So like, for example, if there is a series that is counting towards your stats and you did like, I don't know, a race of, that'll get rid of pretty quickly because that's just there to fill out stuff. It's obviously not a particularly accurate one. Mark Sutherland would be a good example of that. His 3D Speed Spring 2021 series, assuming he stays around for a while, will very quickly be eliminated. 1, because it's the oldest data point, but 2, because it's a single race. I don't have anything else to say on the matter. Some series will use these ratings for different trophies. For example, a silver cup or a bronze cup or whatever. It may also impact who can team with whom. The idea being is that you don't really want to see in a team's championship 4 platinum drivers partnering up on the same team. Kind of defeats the purpose. It kind of decides it before it even starts. It also defeats the purpose of teams, which is a big part of what I think of as teams, is that there should be a driver being built in the team. There should be a bronze or a low-end silver guy who is learning tricks and becoming a better driver. That way, the grid gets closer and closer and closer. We get better drivers. We establish better craft. We establish better pace. We establish better understanding of the game. And that can be done within the team faction because you're giving someone, a plat or a gold or whatever, a reason to step up to the plate and teach, frankly, at the end of the day. And that's the idea. That being said, just because a driver is fast doesn't mean they'll necessarily be a good teacher, because there is such a thing as just basically inherent speed, the natural ability to go fast that isn't really teachable. You'll kind of see that if you're a fan of like team sports. A lot of the best coaches are not particularly good players, but a lot of the best players end up as pretty poor coaches who don't really develop much because they're unable to figure out why you can't do something. Now, that's less in sim racing because, of course, in real sports, you have just raw athleticism. For example, you could give me the best coach in the world for mixed martial arts, let's say, and the results would be somewhat limited. Why? Not very explosive, not very athletic, not very coordinated. I have some assets, good cardio, durability, a fair knack for analyzing stuff, but it doesn't necessarily translate to like high levels of ability. Whereas someone, and you see this with guys who come out of like camps that have no history of producing high level fighters in MMA, and they'll have like that one guy. And you have to wonder, okay, how much of that was just natural raw ability? Sim racing's a bit less than that because it's not quite as quite as physically demanding. There's less unavoidable stuff, but there is still people who are naturally fast and can't really explain why they're fast. But generally speaking, in a team setting, you want kind of a mix of drivers to try to produce long-term benefit. And that's the goal. And some teams don't have that limitation. I know the Blancpain 2016 series allows anyone to team up that has. I think it has a team that has 3 platinum drivers on it. One is very part-time though, which makes it a little bit less interesting. But that's just my opinion. So that is the ESR rating system. I hope I've answered everything that could possibly come up in regards to this. How the rating impacts the series as you run is up to the admin. I, for one, do very deep rating stuff, but other admins largely ignore the ratings, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this is just something to kind of somewhat classify drivers based on ability, and tier them. All right, that is all. This will be up on the YouTube, and I will be doing a custom skins livery or custom liveries video next. I just have to record the sort of bad thing that happens with them in ACC to append to the video. I've got my explanation already done. It just needs that video, and I am suffering from massive lower body cramps, so I don't want to get into the racing rig. But at some point I will. Anyways, thank you for your time.